In your process of developing intuition, it's really important not to share the intuition prematurely and in an ungrounded way. So I'm speaking to people that are developing their intuition, healers, people with intuitive abilities of whatever kind. And from my experience, this stuff started before I would ever dare think of myself as intuitive in any way. When you have that kind of knowing, which we all have, it's not as special as a lot of people try to make it. It's just a skill that needs to be developed. And I'll probably have other videos on that. But this one is about the effect of oversharing, prematurely sharing, or sharing in an ungrounded way. The thing is, most people are in denial about their emotions and their motivations. And even if they're not in denial to themselves, which many are, maybe most, they're definitely in denial when it comes to talking to somebody else about it. And so here you come as the intuitive person saying, hey, what's up in your marriage? It feels like something's off. And the person's like, no, it's fine. What are you talking about? You're trying to mess up my marriage, right? Just because your marriage is messed up, don't put that on me, whatever. And the thing is, it's just kind of like, to you, the intuitive person, it's kind of like, hey, your lipstick's smeared, or, something like that. It's like, oh, you got something on your face there. Nothing personal. It's just like, I looked at it, I saw it, I said something. That's it. No big deal. No huge accusation. But to that other person who's in emotional denial, who perhaps doesn't even know what emotions they're feeling, and you'd be shocked how many people are in that situation. Maybe you too. All of us on some level are unaware of the full scope of our emotions. And so you come up just like the kid in the Emperor's New Clothes story, just saying, hey, what's that? And people say, nothing. There's nothing. You have not seen anything. You're just projecting your own crap onto me, whatever. And so it's important, number one, to understand when intuition is intuition. And it's harder than it might seem, because people that haven't developed intuition, they think of it as, for example, a lot of times clients think I'm reading their mind. I'm not reading anybody's mind. I'm not listening in on their internal dialogue, nor would I want to. It probably wouldn't be that exciting. Most internal dialogues are highly repetitive and boring. And if you could see a transcript of your internal dialogue for a day, you'd probably be shocked and be like, what the hell am I thinking that thought 80,000 times a day for? What a waste. But anyway, the point is, you might not even think it's an intuition. So being grounded is important, just to even know that you are dealing with an intuition. It's really important. How do you get grounded? Well, do grounding exercises. Stand on the bare earth with bare feet and feel your feet on the ground. Feel your feet on the ground even if you have shoes and you're sitting at your desk at your office. It doesn't matter. Better to step on bare ground, obviously. Feel the weight of your body in the chair, on your feet when you're standing, your butt when you're sitting. Feel the fact that you even have a body. Take a few breaths. Feel gravity, right? Gravity is the earth pulling you into itself. It's the embrace of Mother Earth. And when you feel it, and what is gravity? It's simply just the weight of your body on the earth or something else sitting on the earth. And literally just feeling that, taking a few breaths, relaxing, just noticing it. A real easy thing to do for slight grounding, it's not a huge amount of grounding, just notice that you have feet. If you think about it, you go around most of your life as if you don't have feet. And some people that really need to be grounded, and that aren't, obviously, they will stub their toe, they'll hurt their feet a lot, run into things, whatever. And that's a way of your body getting you more grounded. But back to intuition. The important thing with this is it's not about being really secretive and I'm not going to tell anybody my grand intuition. It's that, number one, it's important to share intuition, but it's important to know that it's intuition and know who you're sharing it with. And so one thing you can do is kind of get permission. Like, I had this weird thought. Do you want to hear it? You might not want to hear it. It's kind of weird. Don't present it as an intuition necessarily. As a beginner, you might not even know that. It's hard to tell the difference between a thought and an intuition. Yesterday, in a session with a client, I said some number like 17. I don't remember the number. But I said that number a couple of times. And he was looking at me like, why'd you say 17? And I kind of knew what was happening. And I said, I have no idea. Right? It popped into my head and I said it. Just like most human conversation. It doesn't seem like anything supernatural. And I don't think it is anything supernatural. I don't think intuition is supernatural. I think it's natural. I don't think reincarnation is supernatural, out of body travel. None of that is supernatural. It's just natural. It's just something that people don't have a good handle on, so they don't know what the hell it is. But it's natural. Just as natural as going to sleep and having a dream. So, with your intuition, it's important to share intuition in your intuitive development. But it's also important not to overshare it, not to share with the wrong people. Because when you share it to people with a very dense energy, with a lot of issues, and with a lot of emotional denial, people who aren't on any kind of spiritual path, healing path, therapy path, anything like that, they're not introspective. They're not looking at that next deeper level of connection between issues. And so when you share your intuition with them, they will invalidate it, and you will think you might have been wrong. Now, sometimes you will be wrong, because sometimes you misinterpret the intuition, and that's a whole other topic. But just remember, be grounded and careful as you develop your intuitive skills in not sharing it willy-nilly with anybody around. Be discerning about it, because it's a precious thing that you're developing, and you don't want to kind of put it in their hands. hands, in the hands of the barbarians or whatever, right? You don't want to put it in their hands. You don't want to leave it up to them. Because 90% of the time, they'll just tell you you're wrong, even when you're right, especially when you're right. It might even freak them out. And their first reaction, as with their own emotions, is denial, is saying you're crazy, whatever. So guard your intuition, respect your intuition, and one way, if you really have to float the idea, like I said, don't say, my intuition has declared that you are having marital problems. No. Say something like, I just had the weirdest thought in my head. Are you guys having marital problems? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I didn't think so. That was weird. I don't know. Probably just bullshit going off in my head, And a lot of times what will happen with that is they'll come back a few days later. Either they'll say, why did you say that? And you say, I really don't know, just some weird thought in my head, And, but you'll know that you triggered something. Or they'll say, that thing that you said about me having marital problems, yeah, I haven't told anybody, but we're talking about getting a divorce. And you'll be like, oh my God, And the way you build intuition is by sharing it and having it be confirmed over and over and over hundreds of times. The thing is, if you're not in a profession like mine doing healing, using your intuition in your job, it's hard to, kind of have that permission to even be able to practice that often. If you want to learn more about developing intuition, psychic abilities, and all of that, check out Laura Day. Laura Day is an author. I think one of her books is The Circle. One of them is How to Rule the World from Your Couch, something like that. And she has a really good grounded way of helping you bring it out with no fanfare. I went to a little mini event of hers in New York a few years ago, and she would give you an exercise. Like, okay, here's how it works. You guys split into pairs, and one person does this, one person, and she just describes it. And one of her things was no closing your eyes, no tuning in. Just have a conversation with the person and just say what comes to your mind. It was amazing. Because it skipped all these hurdles of making it all weird, okay? Because it's not weird, okay? To a colorblind person, it could be weird that you could see different colors, and that's all it is with intuition. Except that almost everybody can develop intuition. Almost everybody uses intuition all the time. Here's one final thing to just ground in the idea of intuition. If you look at a person or a view, a landscape that is beautiful, how do you know it's beautiful? It's not logic. It's more intuition. How do you know a Van Gogh is an amazing painting? How do you know a certain piece of music is great? It's more intuition than it is logic. I'm not saying it's pure intuition, but it's not linear, right? You look at the Grand Canyon and, oh my God, right? You have that reaction. So that's what intuition is. You see a person and they're good looking. It's not like you went and measured their face for symmetry to find out if they were good looking. You just see, you know. It's instant knowing. That's how simple intuition is. But again, when you share it with the wrong person, it can be an issue because it can make you doubt yourself. So I recommend either not sharing it with everybody, sharing it in a way where you're not claiming it as this big intuition, this huge psychic thing, or saying it in an offhanded way where if the person connects with it, they'll tell you, and if not, it just floats right by. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts on intuition today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and check out my website, andysway.com. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.